Hey guys, what's up? Unrested back with my first video, sitting back in my chair over here doing an actual all about Japan video. I usually put them out on Saturday, but guess what? We had no service in almost all of Florida for Verizon all yesterday. Check the news if you're wondering about that. It was actually all over America, something like hundreds of thousands of users offline. I had no phone service, no internet, nothing. It was weird. I've never had anything like that, especially not having phone service. Anyway, let's jump into it for today. Got a pretty big issue going on here. Whew, this is a heavy subject, and I'm gonna do my best. As ignorant as I am of world politics, it's not really my specialty. I don't pretend to be any kind of expert, so you're more than welcome to call out anything I get incorrect in the comments below. Although the source I am using today is directly from the DEA, as far as what I'm talking about for today. So um, I hope that's a legit source for most of you. So, we've heard about the tariffs and everything like that. And of course, Japan's economy is suffering from that due to the fact that, America has placed giant tariffs on there. And it's weird because most of you probably know Biden and Trump both were cool with Japan. Like, they didn't have any problems. Japan's not really one to make a big fuss. So people have always been asking, like, why do they keep doing this to Japan? Especially with their economy struggling so bad, and the fact that like America and Japan are still pretty good friends as far as like military exercises and stuff like that go. We've got a bunch of bases there. I think there's something like 13 different bases in Okinawa alone. Well, this is the issue, guys. And if you're hearing like a lot of background noise, sorry, I've got like a massive thunderstorm going on outside. Just best I can do. Got to record something, guys. Um, so what you're looking at right now is how fentanyl is being delivered across from China to America, a problem that America is definitely still dealing with. People dying all the time from overdosing on this. It's not a joke. It's not something you should be fooling around with. And I've definitely even had friends that I graduated with from high school die from this. And I actually had a band member that I played with in a band in college die from this too. So it's no joke. I don't take this thing lightly. I think it's something, and I'm not like trying to get on here and be political about the left or the right in America. Please understand that. This is something that was going on during Biden's reign. This is something that's going on during Trump's. Okay, so this isn't like either president. I will say though, the thing that Trump is doing right now by putting the tariffs on Japan, one of his big issues was the fact that a lot of people, and they don't know this because Japan doesn't talk about it, they don't want it to be a big international news story, is that a lot of the fentanyl coming from China is being ushered out through Nagoya, Japan. And this comes from the actual DEA unclassified document that you can go read it yourself. Just go type in DEA investigation into fentanyl from Japan. Okay. It kind of shocked me. My wife actually keyed me in on this. She's like, like why we have these tariffs right now, like why we're still getting, like the DEA called out Japan. We're like, you have stuff being shipped out through, it's like oil cans, I believe, and dog food. It's being pushed into inside of while it's going through Nagoya's ports, and they're just letting it slide. The mayor of Nagoya came out and he's like, "This is bad news. We got to look into this." And, it's the same thing Japan does a lot of the times. We're like, "This sounds real bad. We're going to investigate." Silence, silence. There's stuff like this that happens all the time. I remember even when I was teaching English in schools, they'd be like, "Our English rate is never going up. We really need to look into getting our English teachers in schools to speak fluent English." Silence. It's never changed. This is what Japan does a lot of the time. Like they'll be like, "We're real upset about this, and we're gonna do nothing. We're gonna talk about it though on TV and pretend like we are." And American politicians do the same thing. So you guys know how it goes. Investigations revealed that a Chinese criminal network used companies in Nagoya, Japan, as a transit hub to ship fentanyl through to the U.S. The scheme exploited gaps in Japan's custom and drug laws, which did not regulate many chemicals. The trafficking network, Chinese origin. The network was tied to Hubei, I'm sure I pronounced that wrong, Amarvel Biotech. Sorry if I'm absolutely crushing these words. A Chinese chemical manufacturer in Wuhan, Nagoya base. In Nagoya, the group established a company named Fursky KK. Um, and have been working with Armavell biotech executives who have directed flows of this through Nagoya since mid 2024. All right, and I'm reading the same thing. I'm reading the report that you're seeing up here. If you're wondering what I'm reading right now, I can, this is showing how it's coming through here. How it's you can see it stops right there in Nagoya around the way, comes over here, um, right. You can see this is source DEA. This is just so you know what I'm reading from and stuff like that. If you're like, what's your sources about all that? You're just making that up. I get that a lot. I always make sure I list all my sources whenever I'm doing this because you'll get a lot of people being like, that's a conspiracy. So if you want to read the same one, go through it. You can check it out. Method of concealment. The traffickers. My Alexa's shouting at me while I'm trying to do this. Method of concealment. Traffickers hid the chemical shipments by mislabeling them as dog food or engine oil. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Japanese response. Now, here you go. Here's the Japanese response, right? After Japanese media broke the story, so it was Japan's own media systems that broke this, which I am kind of shocked because usually when they have like kind of a entire embarrassing national problem going on, they try not to talk about it too much. Nagoya's mayor called the matter a grave issue. The Japanese government stated it was going to investigate and is committed to coordinating with the U.S. to combat trafficking. They've done nothing. Um, the DEA and Trump did actually, visit, talk with Japan, everything like that. And they said, this is like our biggest issue. This is why we're doing tariffs right now because we really need you to fix this big issue. And it's not getting done. And you probably are like, why? Why would you keep letting your entire nation be given these massive tariffs that are screwing up all their exports and hurting small businesses and stuff like that? Why would they keep allowing this to happen when they can obviously just stomp out something horrible like fentanyl, a drug that kills people? It's because guess who's pocketing the money from these shipments? Politicians. It's always lining the pockets of the politicians. You know who it is. Think about themselves first. Think about their pocketbook second. Think about lining the pockets of their family members and friends third. Maybe like 10th or 11th down the line. Oh, yeah, that's right. We got citizens in this country. I guess we'll think about them maybe one day when so many of them have never had babies anymore and the nation's been reduced to half its population and we can't even make money as politicians anymore. Then we'll start to get concerned. Custom blind spots. Japanese officials admitted that no fentanyl had been seized in the country's borders in the last 6 years. This has been going on since 2019 at least, prompting accusations of dysfunctional customs oversight. International pressure. The revelations have put pressure on Japan to close regulatory gaps, and they're not doing that. Like, this has been talked about a bunch. Like, there's been a bunch of news stories on it. Politicians from America have come over and been like, yeah, this is like really bad. The DEA has come over and been like, look, here's where you're like making mistakes. Like, you've got all these different blind spots in the ways that you do transactions with checking stuff that's coming through your ports. Please lock this down. Nothing. So this is the big problem that they're dealing with now. How long do you think this is going to continue to go on? How long do you think this is going to continue to be a problem in Japan? I think you're going to see it to be a big problem in Japan until you see like almost the whole of the diet and all the parties within the diet. That's Japan's national political groups within a gathering known as the diet. I try to explain this every time. People think I'm always talking about food or like losing weight. The diet is the name of it. It's like parliament and the diet, same type of thing. Okay. They're probably not going to have this stop or be fixed until everybody's scraped out of there. You've got a lot of people in there who are in the pockets of the Chinese right now. And people are also wondering, they're like, how do they end up getting into these situations where like either they make all their money from like Chinese drug dealers or companies setting up in ports in Nagoya? Well, the other thing that has been found to be happening is a lot of Japanese politicians have been caught by Chinese honey traps organized by Chinese criminal groups, such as the triads and stuff like that. You're probably, if you don't know what I'm talking about, pretty much what they do is they set them up to come hang out with us, dude. We're other politicians too. We're just politicians like you, man. Come hang out. They do that. They have beautiful women or beautiful men show up to these places that they hang out at, and they check out and see, who does that politician keep looking at while we have these beautiful people all around us in our very elaborate dinners and celebrations and stuff like that. They eye that. They get a bead on that real quick. And what they do is then they start to pretty much socially engineer a relationship between the politician and some sort of affair with, whatever their like is, the perfect type of women that they like, the perfect type of dude that they like. Hey, I'm not judging. I'm just telling you what's going down. And they set those up. And what happens then is they have a meeting, they hook up, they're having an affair with their, against their husbands, their wives, whatever, you know, and they find out and they start blackmailing them, and that's a honey trap. You pull them in with the honey, you trap them, and then they're trapped there forever. They got to keep setting up these deals where it's, hey, it's okay, I'll tell my people over in Nagoya to just let things go through the port. I'll let you go ahead and buy a little more land here. Like, you should see the large amount of land and property that the Chinese are buying up in Japan right now. And if you're wondering, you're like, why do they just keep selling it when they always complain about China, like, bothering the Senkaku Islands and stuff like that? Well, this is how desperate Japan's economy and politicians are right now. The economy is absolute trash right now in Japan. There's nothing Japan is doing to help the economy. On top of it, their population has a lot to do with the economy being strong or weak, and they're doing zero. Their newest idea, listen to this one. This is their newest idea. They're thinking about adding more taxes and heavily taxing people who decide to not start families and not have kids. Now, mind you, the reason these people are not having families or, giving birth to multiple children is the price of raising a child in Japan. You're looking at about 22 million yen minimum. I'm not talking about adding things on like cram school, juku, special tutors and stuff to get into these very hard universities, middle schools, high schools. You're looking at about 22 million on average. So what do? We make them even more poor by taxing them. That'll make them want to have families, right? Oh boy. So now it's time to open this up to you guys, the audience, and ask you, what do you think about all this? I highly encourage you to go check out the DEA's study on this and all the different ports that they've like investigated, what's getting sent through, the powders, the pills, etc., how they're coming into America and everything like that, how they're coming from China. Again, my main sources are using the DEA investigation going on, and the fact that like a Japanese news corporation, almost all of them, everybody from NHK to Zero to all of them, busted a big news story on about this happening and how Nagoya is doing absolutely nothing to clear it up. So the people suffering are mom and pop shops who can no longer export their goods due to the big tariffs being placed on them by America, who's like, can you please stop letting this go through your ports? What do you guys feel about this? How do you guys feel about this? I want to really know in the comments below. What else more could be done? What's your opinion on it? Should the mayor of Nagoya be ousted? I think so. I think he's absolutely dragging his feet on this, probably because he's got his hands in the pockets of Chinese politicians and criminal organizations as well. I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever. Sad to see. It's really sad to see. I even saw a fellow J-vlogger recently, Softy Papa Kurt, who you may know. He shut down one of his businesses where he sold stuff overseas because the tariffs just make it impossible for him to run that company. And that's sad. That's really sad to see because he had some cool stuff. He was selling all kinds of cool antiques and stuff like that. From what I understand, and I could be wrong, I haven't talked really personally with Kurt about this, but what it seemed like he did is people would request certain, like, first of all, he would just collect a bunch of antiques on top of it, like all kinds of different stuff people love from Japan, bunraku theater masks, katana stuff, whatever, like art, and they would request certain things, and sometimes he would even have to go out and try to find like maybe a certain type of piece that they wanted, or old cultural souvenir or something like that. But he said it's just not feasible anymore with how bad the tariffs are. So it's sad to see. It's sad to see it even affect people out there, friends and family out there. And I hope Nagoya can do something to clear this up soon, and I hope all of the diet gets cleared out and some actual real politicians who care about Japan get in there. Because I can tell you right now, the politicians running Japan right now, they care about one thing. that money in their pocket. And that's about it. Anyway, guys, if you like what you saw here today, as always, I am Unrested, covering social issues and stuff like this within Japan. If you like that kind of stuff, think about subscribing. If not, your view alone is enough, and I appreciate you for that. Until next time, I'll talk to you again real soon.